Blake Lively is suing Justin Baldoni for retaliation and sexual harassment.
Correct. Blake Lively is formally suing Justin Baldoni. And I'm about to give what's apparently a controversial take because people are already coming out instantly on his side because they just don't like Blake Lively. And listen, you know that I don't really like Blake Lively at all, but I've been reading everything as it's coming out and we will go over it, but it's looking like she has a pretty strong case here. Obviously, we will never know exactly what happened behind closed doors, but the evidence they've presented so far is not making Justin Baldoni look very great. So today we're going to walk through it, but this is another one of those days where I'm going to ask you to think with nuance and understand that bad things can still happen to people that we don't think are good people. Because while I still stand by all the history I covered with why I don't really care for Blake Lively, and I still think she should have behaved more professionally on the press tour, this might make a little bit more sense as to why she was like completely over this at this point and just in a mood having to do it, although that doesn't excuse the way she treated people. For starters, she's formally filing for sexual harassment on the set, and she's also claiming that he coordinated PR efforts intentionally to damage her reputation. And believe me, we will get into that second part. And you can pause to read everything in detail, but in a very short, simplified summary, she's just claiming that he behaved very inappropriately on set. And his behavior obviously made her quite uncomfortable. Even to the point where she claims there was like improvised, unwanted, and non-consensual kissing that he just decided to go for, which again, that's really bad. And highlights the need for an intimacy coordinator on all sets. But a very interesting part that really does strengthen her whole case is that for some reason that I very much so disagree with, they all decided together as a group that their marketing plan wasn't going to lean into the, real story of the movie, the harmful relationship, but it was going to be more upbeat, trying to highlight women as strong. And like two things can exist at once, but this explains why Blake Lively was like so upbeat and telling everyone to wear your florals and grab your girlies and go to the theater. Because this is what they had all collectively, again, for some reason decided was going to be the marketing route. And that ties directly into her claims that he immediately started running a smear campaign online and trying to make her look bad. Because obviously then, if these details are true, he made her very uncomfortable on set. And Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively's husband, blocked him afterwards on Instagram. And he noticed this, and this raised a red flag in which he decided he should have a plan. It was around when he decided to hire that crisis PR management team as well. Now, I don't know about you, but why would you need a plan to drag someone's name through the mud? That's strange, but that's also around the time when in interviews he started to go off of their marketing plan, right, and really lean into the DV aspects of the film. And a lot of incriminating texts have come out between him and his team now, claiming that they want to bury her and really framing it as an attempt to completely ruin and smear Blake Lively's word and credibility. So if he went off script, seeming more authentic and really leaving into the message and DV behind the film that they were told they were not supposed to touch, then he could frame that as being like, oh, she's so shallow, she doesn't care, right? She's just doing this as like a fluff thing. What I'm saying, it's a very intentional and easy picture to paint. And they're even claiming that they hired people on different platforms to run smear campaigns against her as well. And I know outwardly none of this makes sense, right? Because Justin Baldoni has made his whole career about being like an activist and a philanthropist and like wanting to help people. But I've actually been in a very similar position that Blake Lively is now, but the difference is that she has a very powerful team behind her. There are two kinds of men who will go into this sort of thing, men who are doing it authentically and men who are narcissists, and it's a very easy path, right, to be a male feminist, and then you get all this praise and approval because you're such a good guy and we don't have enough good guys like you. It's very easy, instant gratification and reward. One weekend I was working on a project where we were working with celebrities and influencers, and one specific very large celebrity, he had made his entire platform being like a social activist, human rights activist, feminism, right? All of this stuff, great guy, dad. He's a very well-known name, right? And we were all very excited to meet him because we thought we were going to meet this amazing guy who's like super famous. And it was going to be so good for the cause. And we meet him, of course, he's very charming, charismatic, super friendly. Over time, he gets a little bit too friendly. Already a little bit uncomfortable. Later, I see that he has slid into my DMs. Sir, you are old enough to almost be my father. Not to mention your wife and kids as well. Behavior for the rest of the weekend made me extremely uncomfortable as well. I only hung in there because I knew we had like 1 or 2 days left that we had to work together. So I can't even imagine having to sit through filming an entire movie, especially when there's intimacy scenes where you have to actually like trust the person you're working with. Because my friends and everyone who clocked it on the set around us, they would not let me out of their sight with this man. Thank God, eventually even some of the people higher up started to clock the behavior. Interestingly enough, right after that weekend, the next thing he did was become the face of an organization that helps victims of things like DV. Do we know for sure if Justin Baldoni is one of these fake activist men who exploits causes to curate this army of feminist women who will go after anyone who tries to expose him, that allows him to just do whatever he wants behind the scenes? No, of course not. But what I am saying is that 1, it isn't impossible. It's something that I've seen before. And 2, if anyone is going to take this legal battle on, it's going to be someone as large and powerful as Blake Lively, whether we like her as a person or not. I don't have my eggs in either basket here at this point, but let's not just immediately pick sides based off vibes.